Good evening, goblins and ghouls, and welcome to the Friday Night Scream Stream. I'm your host, Spakenstein, and I'm joined by my very good friend, Mr. Evan Sink. How we doing tonight, Evan?
Oh, thank you. Doing so well.
Yeah, hanging in there after a long work week.
Yeah, it's been another long work week.
But here we are, Friday night, and you're actually going to get to enjoy Saturday tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's a nice change of pace.
Having a day off.
Right,
What
exactly.
a treasure.
What a treasure. We can all treasure a day off. I myself came back from a little midweek retreat, little trip to the mountains, the middle of nowhere, no civilization. Definitely felt like a horror movie at some point. So
That's how it starts. You cut out the Wi-Fi.
the Wi-Fi goes, and immediately you're like, okay, this is gonna be bad news from here. Thankfully it was a wonderful
any
time.
killers in the woods?
Ooh, Fresh is in the house. What's up,
Hey.
Fresh? Yes. No killers. I thought every once in a while I saw a cannibal like hiding behind a tree, but it turns out just some wild turkeys. So
It was just a bear.
just 5 bears. But
In
you
a
don't bother
trench
them,
coat.
they won't bother you,
5 cubs in a trench coat.
Right, exactly. That's what it was. And he said, "Keep out. I'm the ranger around these parts." And he stole his picnic basket. And you know how that story goes. We're all familiar with the tale of Yogi Bear and Jellystone. I don't have to go into all that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. We're very happy. Right, it does, doesn't it? We're very happy to be chilling with you all tonight here, chilling and enjoying some good old-fashioned horror. And when I say good old-fashioned, I'm talking about as old as we get on this show, pretty much. There's maybe a
There's
couple...
not much room to go any further back.
No, there's really not. I mean, seriously, this is... Okay, I'm going to tell you guys, go ahead and brace yourselves. We're going back 102 years.
Jeez.
And I'm going to go ahead and broach the topic now. There's some people that just can't handle super old movies, silent movies, which is the movie that we're going to be watching tonight. Again, it's called The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, 1922. No, sorry, 1920. Yes, because I said it was 102 years ago. So 1920, and it is from Germany. It's our first international film on the program, which I'm definitely trying to make sure, especially after this season, that I incorporate some more international titles that are public domain here in the United States. Caligari is public domain here in the US. It's not public domain in Germany. So I'm sure I'm going to have, Morbius. Hey, this movie has what's considered one of the first twist endings. So, I'm sure with Morbius, Caligari's definitely going to be much more worth your time. So it's, lol. Hey, guys, spoiler alert. I'm just telling anybody, if you're watching this and you see the chat, spoiler alert. So I'm already having trouble with saying the word spoiler.
Spoiler
alert. Anyway, I digress. Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Yeah, he is a vampire. So I don't have time to get into it. It's one of those things. Morbius certainly, if we had a vampire movie tonight, that would be. This is not a vampire movie. This is a movie about madness and about hypnotism and sleepwalking. I guess I don't know if you got. Evan, are you familiar with the term somnambulist?
Somnambulist?
Yes.
Isn't that just a sleepwalker?
Sleepwalker, yeah, essentially, right. That's exactly what it is. So that's one of the characters in this movie. Again, like I said, it's from Germany, and it comes out of a whole movement called German Expressionism, which was an art movement. So this is an art film. We're about to get all
we're getting arty tonight.
We're about to get all arty up in here. Sweet Feet's in the house. Yes. Hey, Sweet Feet. Sweet Feet's probably seen this. This is one that you're gonna catch a lot in film schools or any kind of like anytime you're trying to get any knowledge about the foundations of horror. This is
required reading.
It is. It's because the style is unbelievably amazing. So we'll get into it. Before we do, we're gonna go ahead and get to what is becoming one of my favorite segments of the show, because it brings me something new every week. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you, Evan, with what were you drinking?
I'm sorry, what were you drinking? What
the hell were you drinking?
So you have to say it like that. Preserve the pun. So this week our thematic drink is the Hypnotist.
Ooh.
It's always so very helpful whenever I can just search, like an easy online search, and find a cocktail. So the one this week is actually pretty similar to what we had last week. If you remember, last week we were drinking kind of a martini, almost like an apple-tini, but with pomegranate and some cherry.
Right.
So this week, instead of that, this week it's vodka, lemon juice, and something that I've never tried, Hypnotic, which is a French liqueur. It's too bad it's not a German product.
Yeah, that certainly. I was wondering if it was German. I was kind of hoping that it would be.
But it is foreign, at least.
You know,
it's it's in the ballpark.
Right. Hey, that exactly. It's on theme, and that's what counts. No, I've never had Hypnotic either. I've certainly seen it because it's a beautiful
very
blue color.
Very
blue.
It is strikingly blue.
The French champagne has always been celebrated for its excellence. As has their Hypnotic, and
yeah, look how blue that is.
Yeah, so you guys, as you can see, it's very blue, and in both of our cameras, you can tell it's super blue,
very blue,
and the bluest that you'll get. And Evan, yeah, I mean, this looks great. Pretty simple, not like too many ingredients.
This is probably the easiest one I've made so far. It only had 3 ingredients. So
right.
Usually, whatever I bring onto the show, it's like half a dozen ingredients.
Evan's coming in here with his arm full of grocery bags, and he looks like a mad scientist at work over there with his castle background. All right, well, without further ado,
yeah, let's try it.
Let's give it a shot. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
And cheers out there, people.
It's pretty good. That's a little stiff.
It's stiff.
There's
it's certainly stiff. It's very stiff.
In that as what we've had before. Well, I mean, it is.
No.
It's vodka plus liqueur plus a little bit of lemon juice. So.
Yeah, the lemon juice is supposed to help it go down. You know, it gives it a kick, but it also the fact that the other two things are alcoholic. It's like
it's pretty
that's
good,
all
though.
you're
There's
getting
some
to dilute it.
Flavor in there. I think I get a little mango maybe.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, definitely some kind of citrus, some kind of, outside the lemon.
Yeah. Something
extra, some kind of more fruity.
A lot of vodka.
A lot of vodka.
A lot of vodka.
That was the initial rush.
Yeah.
And okay, yeah, so we're just seeing over here in the text station that Evan's face is blue. We don't know what that's about. One other thing, I didn't want to talk about it with this movie, but Yeah, Evan, I don't know if you can see it on your monitor, but you're actually blue right now. So if anybody knows anything about the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, you know that it's commonly referred to as a cursed film. Um, all that I can surmise is that maybe we've fallen victim to the Caligari curse. That's all I can guess. It's been known to cause some bugs. If you put the Caligari DVD in, you're cursed, you're haunted, and this has just been going on for decades.
Yeah, Garrett, where did you get this DVD?
Well, so
who did you buy this from? Did you buy it from like a shady person behind
so this
an apartment
particular
store?
copy, yes, I did have to go out of my way to find this very pristine print, and I should have known, going out of my way to find a pristine print, that it would be cursed. Hopefully it'll be worth it. I think it'll be worth it. There may be some technical difficulties. Clearly, we're already having this. We may be dropping some frames. The audio may echo. That's the Caligari curse. So it's very unpredictable. We don't really know. That's the risk that we're taking to bring you guys this landmark horror film, which is, again, the art direction's incredible. It's all incredible. I'm super excited for this. I'm super excited about this drink. If you're drinking along, I hope you guys are also liking it. Again, it's just a wonderful color. And yeah, well, and she crawled out of that well and her eyes were black, and I thought, well, she looks trustworthy. But I wasn't sure if...
Now there's someone I can make a deal with.
Right, exactly. Yeah, something 7 days, Caligari curse.
Got it. Let's do it.
Sign
me up.
And I mean, it was $5, guys. What was I gonna do? She was just offering it to me for a steal. If I want to go procure it through a legal route, I got to pay $20. I mean, come on. And now she's a legal reseller in her well. She runs a whole curio shop out of there, and she has pristine Caligari copies. So she was really thrilled when I told her I was going to be showing it to more people. She's like, okay, that'll get the curse kind of spread around. So if you guys watch this tonight and something bad happens afterwards, it's not our fault. Okay, you took the risk. We're warning you now.
If your antivirus sends you a notification,
Caligari curse. That's what it is. Steal your soul. Everything's on the table. There's no limits. I mean, again, like I said, technical bugs, possession, death. The risks are endless. We're really happy if you guys are choosing to take that risk with us tonight. We don't have a waiver for you to sign. If I was a little more inventive, maybe I would have go ahead and had something pop up. You can just fake sign on the screen, but unfortunately...
Sharpie all over your monitor.
Yes, the Cabinet of Dr. Calamari certainly would have been a more delicious title. But that was just... I don't think shrimp was on their mind in Germany. I think you're thinking more about schnitzel before you think about shrimp. But that's just... I'm not German, so I can't speak with any authority on this whatsoever.
Man, I need some new material. That was my one joke I had in my pocket.
Oh, no! Fresh, you stole Evan's one crafty joke.
Oh, God, what am I going to do now?
I
got 2 hours to fill.
Evan, you're going to be grasping for puns all night because, again, like I said, this is a silent film. So also, on top of the curse, I hope everybody's been doing a lot of reading lately and brushing up on your reading skills, because and it's not intertitles. You got to read subtitles because the intertitles are in German. They're more artistic. So you want to see the German intertitles, but you can't read them. So there's subtitles.
You can read German.
So it is... Right. Well, the Cabinet of Dr. Squid also would have been certainly a more interesting film. Put a top hat on a squid, give him some big circle glasses. Maybe he has the power to hypnotize. Yeah. I'd pay to see that. Certainly, it would be more worthwhile than it sounds like Morbius was. But not to rag. I don't cast aspersions here.
I think they made that one already. I think that one's called Bloodborne.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, Evan here is on the more recent movie knowledge.
Just kidding. It's not a movie. It's a game.
Oh, womp womp. See, and that's where I'm going to be behind because I don't know shit about games. Okay, well, and if you took German and you know a little bit, then and if you know a lot, you'll be straight. So yeah, again,
this is just a German language educational video.
That's all it is. I mean, and again, the curse, because maybe it's not all bad stuff. Maybe you watch this tonight and you wake up.
Curse.
Maybe it's a good curse. Maybe you wake up tomorrow morning and you find that you know German. You just know German, like all of it. You could go back and watch
like
this
a really
or watch
good
anything.
Curse, you're saying.
Right,
this is a fluency curse.
It's a fluency curse.
Who
knows?
Cursed with the knowledge of another language.
Good curse, bad curse. We don't know. Right.
You just roll the dice with these.
Right. It is the Caligari. It is often said that Caligari is the Rosetta Stone of the German language. If you watch Caligari, you'll get cursed, and you'll also know how to speak German. So, if some of you out there can't understand what we're saying by the end because we're all of a sudden speaking German, then I apologize in advance. I'm really sorry. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, it's one of those things, though. The German language is one of those cool languages. It's in the way that it's close to English, and you can see certain words and kind of be like, I mean, you can just see the German and be like, okay, I think maybe I know what they're talking about here. Maybe you'll notice that here, and then maybe you'll start to realize that you're learning German. Who knows? Anyway, hey, watching foreign shows on Netflix, on Hulu, on any streaming show is just gonna broaden your horizons.
It's just gonna give you a curse.
Gonna probably give you a curse, especially Dark. I haven't seen Dark. I've heard very good things about it, but again, any kind of artistic, beautiful, good filmmaking probably comes along with a curse. You gotta sell your soul to the devil for good art. We digress. We could go on. We're gonna get into the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. This was a movie that I think I saw for the first time when I was like 7 or 8 or 9. I got it as a DVD with like a bunch of other silent horror movies. Didn't, saw it, thought, okay, cool. Didn't watch it again, didn't really think much about it. In film school, it's kind of a staple. I saw it multiple times in film school, and I learned to appreciate it because it is, I mean, the exaggerated art direction and design of it is all meant to be psychological, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's pretty fucking wild. It's one that I, certainly grew to appreciate. I think you guys will like it because it's ridiculous, and if you're imbibing like we are, then I think we're all gonna have a lot of fun with it. So, Evan, anything before we get started? Again, you got some of the rough details: hypnotist, somnambulist, Germany, 1920s.
Yeah,
what do you?
I kind of wanted to. I didn't really look into this one that much on purpose, just to try to avoid any spoilers.
Good.
Because I have been. This is one of those that I've been curious about. Like, I've wanted to see what the hype was all about.
Right.
So.
Good. Yeah, no, it does some inventive things story-wise. Again, this was one of the first feature-length horror films ever made. I don't think it was the first, but it was one of the first. And it's about 75 minutes, something like that. And, yeah, everything is incredible. It's really, we're going to get into it. We're going to unpack it. You guys are going to love it. Sweetfeet's in. He knows. I'm very excited to be bringing you guys the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. So, without any further ado, the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. And hold on just a second, because I do believe that the movie... Let's see. Pause. Oh, no. It's good. Okay, we're good. Never mind. Ignore what I was saying. Caligari curse. Hashtag Caligari curse. Robert Veen. I always forget that the W's are pronounced as V's in German. So again, they had 3 art directors, and these guys must have been busy. because most of the sets are painted. Everything's painted. Like, instead of shadows, I mean, there's certainly lighting, but
they paint the shadows.
They paint the shadows.
That's wild.
Right.
That's ooh.
So Conrad Veidt, he's gonna be the somnambulist, and he is a very interesting actor. We'll get into him a little more later. He ended up moving to America and doing some famous American films, and also some other horror films, and I don't really know about anybody else in the cast. Lil Dagover. Yeah, that's a good one. Lil Dagover.
DOS Cabinet.
And it's also good for me with the breaks because it just
it's naturally divided up.
Right. Makes it easy. Ah.
That's why you never sit down on the park bench.
Yeah, so Conrad Veidt, famous actor in Germany, moved to America for a little bit in the late 20s, moved back to Germany, married a Jewish woman in the early 30s. And the Nazi government said, basically, if you're going to sympathize with the Jewish people, then you're going to be blacklisted as an actor. And he actually answered I was reading this today that he answered a questionnaire, and he just told them off in the thing. He's like, yeah, my wife's Jewish, fuck you guys. And he left. He went to England and then to America, and ended up playing a lot of Nazis. And very most famous was in Casablanca.
Oh,
yes, he plays
the Nazi from Casablanca.
Yeah,
okay.
Major Strasser. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, Fresh. Fresh said we can't hear them.
Can we get some audio on the movie?
That's that Caligari curse, man. And if you don't know, this is a silent movie, so you're screwed. So I don't know if you guys said there's a framed story here. Yeah, he was a Nazi in Casablanca, and that was actually the next to last movie he did before he died. He died of a heart attack, like, in the mid-40s. So this like style, this crazy style, is called German Expressionism.
So were there a lot of movies made kind of like this, or
There's a couple, and
this is wild visually.
Yeah, there was maybe one other one that kind of got this visually wild on this level. It's not as well known. We may show it on the program, but it was by the same people. Which I didn't know about it until researching for this.
Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito, ladies and gentlemen. That would have been a great remake, man, when Danny DeVito was in his prime.
Oh, yeah. They missed out. No one in Hollywood has the guts to make a movie like this nowadays.
You gotta pay the troll toll to get into that boy's hole. Mein Freund. Well, I think if you guys will notice how in the frame story, that was just that was just a kind of a normal set, right? And now in these flashbacks that we're getting, it's all crazy looking, you know? And then the acting style in German Expressionism is all about being very expressive with your eyes and your face, and it's supposed to be really over the top. And like, I mean, it's gonna, you guys will see. I mean, it's a lot of, especially when Conrad Veidt comes on the screen. He knows how to use the
The eyes are so big.
Right. I don't know what it is, especially about these German all silent movies. Everybody looks so weird. Eyes look big. They're like, you look crazy, man.
Maybe that's just how people looked back then.
It's gotta be. Absolutely. Biggest party of the year, come to the fair, man.
BYOB.
BYOB to the fair, dude. I mean, that's life in a small town. Small German town, small American town. It's all the same. Biggest thing, one of the biggest events of the year, go to the fair.
What else is there to do?
What else is there to do? We know.
It's not much of a game, but it's the only game in town.
So true. So German Expressionism is all about lines and angles and intersections and the contrast between shadow and light. So
yeah, this is so wild.
Every set has some kind of distorted, disturbed. Oh yeah, at least an hour on these sets, fresh. Maybe a little more they spent. I don't know.
Just
tops.
throw this together in a few minutes.
You know, you just splash some paint on. Done. Oh man, sick card.
Yeah. I want an expressionist business card.
And let me tell you something, there is a big history of bringing in artists to do like films and short films. Salvador Dali, like other people, but on this film it was just these German art directors, these three guys, and they
killed. Like Mickey Mouse gloves.
Mickey Mouse, yeah, that's one thing that always cracked me up with this movie that I noticed as a kid. It was hard to take him seriously because that's what you think immediately when you see that is Mickey Mouse gloves. Dali and Hitchcock Spellbound. They worked together on Spellbound. Dali did a dream sequence for this Hitchcock movie that was all about psychology, and this Gregory Peck is a disturbed patient and Ingrid Bergman is his psychologist. But Dali did this dream sequence, and there's eyes, melting eyes, and classic Dali stuff.
Yeah, as Dali would.
There's another one that Dali helped out on where there's like ants coming out of a hole in a hand, and there's like, and that was in like 1930. We'll maybe show it on the show. It's fucking wild. Sync. Yes, Dali did work with Disney too, and the short didn't come out, but I think later on Disney like did a recreation of it, or they finished it, or something. I haven't seen it, but I saw some pictures and it looked wild. Yeah. But that's definitely kind of the theme for tonight, guys, is the whole idea of like art movements in film. Because again, like German Expressionism was outside of film at this time. It started in painting, but it came out of Germany. And then it kind of moved over into film with Caligari and with a couple other films, which we'll talk about at the break.
This is a wild set. Everything's so like slanted. It feels hard to get oriented.
That's exactly, man. It's supposed to be to kind of fuck with you a little bit. Yep. People were yellow and yellow and white and black, and that's it. and Simpsons. You know, it was Simpsons land basically, and you know, everybody's getting into hijinks. Look in the background at one point, you'll see Bart, a guy that looks like Homer, strangling a little kid that looks like Bart.
Oh, there he is.
Oh,
big pointy hat.
Yep, that classic big pointy hat.
That's where he says, "Eat my hat."
Yep, Sweet Feet. He said, "No wonder they call it the Golden Age." That was a good one. That was a good one, Sweet Feet. Good. That was good. Damn, that hypnotist was really fucking good, dude.
It is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll probably mix another one up here at the break.
Hell yeah. Looking like a loon wearing his glasses over his eyes like that.
His big bell and his whatever that is.
Town crier, hear you. Step right up. Classic Carney, man. Classic Carney. I leave it to a Carney to bill themselves as a doctor. I'm starting to think this guy isn't a real doctor.
Is this what passed for a sideshow attraction back then?
Yep.
This guy sleepwalks.
Look at this sleepwalker. He is a freak. Gaze upon his weird ability to wake up and then immediately fall back to sleep. I gotta say, I would love to be in that line of work and perfect the showman's patter, because when you can, those carnies, man, that's how they draw you in, is with when they step up like that and step right up. That's their power, man.
So you're saying you would want to be the carny?
Be a carny, yeah, sure, in another life, man.
I would want to be the somnambulist, because your job is just while you're asleep.
That would be the easier job,
wake up
for sure.
And you're just off work.
Super,
that
pretty
sounds
simple.
Pretty okay.
Right. Pretty easy. Yeah, I mean, whether it's the angles or Fresh giving off the bad vibes, I can't tell. Maybe he's afflicted with the Caligari curse? Nah. Hopefully not. We hope not. Strange pointed instrument. Could it be, a knife?
I don't know. Everything in this world looks pretty sharp.
Right. Everything in this world is strange and pointed.
The jump cuts in this old movie.
The jump cuts.
Did they just not care about that back then?
Continuity editing wasn't really perfected until like Hollywood in the 30s and 40s.
That's
that's why classic Hollywood continuity editing is considered like
the standard,
as far as trying to make it seamless, where you don't even notice it. But in these days, and even in a lot of foreign countries, it's kind of more about the rough cut. You know, they're trying to produce more effects. They don't want you to not notice the editing. They want you to notice the editing. They want it to have an effect on you. In Hollywood, they want to hide everything. They want the story to just move, and it is a cool effect, but you know, again, it wasn't really until they got sound in the picture they were able to move that along. No, I don't think that. I don't know that they were doing that for the vignettes. I don't know, to be honest with you. That's a very good question.
The curse.
It's That's exactly what it is. Yeah, I don't know. See, I don't know if it's Caesar or Cesare.
Cesare.
Cesare, is that how you would say it?
I have no idea.
I like that, though. Cesare sounds good. Yeah, I mean, it was probably an editing thing, but it's weird. There's a movie called Shadow of the Vampire with Willem Dafoe about the making of Nosferatu. It's a fictional movie, but they kind of show the way that they were working with the camera and trying to do practical things on set. Again, it's a fictional movie, where in that movie the vampire is a real vampire. Like, but it's a lot of fun. I'll talk more about that at the break. I'll bring that up.
The cabinet.
Yeah, I guess that's what they're saying. Okay, if you didn't care about the setup, here's the cabinet. That's right. It is more fun that way. I don't know if we talked about this on a past show, but just the whole idea of like editing physically with the film and just how, doing special, how wild all that was. Yeah. And that was a real, I mean, no diss to the people who do amazing things now with computers, but when you kind of do it all by hand.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
It does not, yeah. Well, it is terrifying. So that is Conrad Veidt. Control Z, I would die, dude, if I didn't have Control Z. What would I do?
Jeez, I messed it up.
Aw, damn it, I gotta start back from scratch. This whole scene is ruined.
The makeup on these people. So
Yeah, that was what that was one thing Sweet Feet brought up earlier.
It looks like a mime.
Zelda music vibes for sure. That thing. It's one thing they talked about in film school is the way that he does shit with his eyes right here. He starts like so, and then by the end he's... And that's somebody that I used to know. Somebody. That was a good one. That was a good one. That's sick. Oh.
Was this movie always tinted like this, or was that added?
Yeah, the tinting was how they did it at the time, and then a lot of public domain copies were black and white. But the tinting is what they were doing back then. Nosferatu was kind of a similar thing.
What was like the first big movie?
Like movie?
Yeah, like when did movies start really becoming a thing? If this was 1920, right?
I mean, old American scholars always brought up Birth of a Nation. Now, and you can find an example.
Do we have to bring that up?
You don't, because there are other examples of feature films.
The first modern film.
Yeah, there's more. I don't know them off the top of my head, but rest assured.
Okay. But it was around then, I suppose.
1915. The first, like, the Great Train Robbery was the first, like, real narrative in the silent films, and that was early 1900s, like 1905, something like that. But there were other countries that had already kind of, again, American film history kind of puts everything through the American film lens, but a lot of France, a lot of other countries were on the forefront. So. Yes, we can get more movie volume fresh, thank you. Maybe that's too much. Dee, 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 dee. I can just hum the music to you guys, okay?
Yeah.
Mama.
He was just thinking, these two knuckleheads are talking too loud. I can't hear the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, this music was made, like, I think in the 90s. In the theaters, they would play it live. And what they would do is they would compile famous, like, classical music pieces for the organist or pianist to play. And this is an original score that I think was done in the 90s or something. Yeah, when you get those, like, fake horns and shit, it definitely gives you Incompetech vibes for sure. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with that at all. Like, any kind of 90s, like, synthesizer, like, did they play this on a keyboard? But this sound, I mean, I think there are other versions of this, I think this was an orchestra version, but it was originally done for, like, the synthesizer keyboard shit.
It looks very Alice in Wonderland.
Right.
These sets are like, I don't know. I almost want to say Dr. Seuss, but...
I mean, no, that's actually very... I mean, again, it's all about the style, and certainly I would say that those early 2000s Dr. Seuss movies, you could say owe a little bit to German Expressionism, which I think you could say even that Dr. Seuss's illustrations maybe owe something to the artistry. Again, angles and lines and just the...
Was he German? Or Austrian or something? What was his name?
No, Theodor Geisel.
Geisel.
Yeah, but I don't know if he was or not. Oh, what fresh? Ugh.
Intermission.
Dr. Seuss is canceled. I don't know.
Is he canceled?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a good question, Sweet Feet. I mean, certainly some books, there was a bunch of hubbub about some... I mean, I'll be honest, one of the books that's canceled, my dad used to read to us, like, for a while growing up. That was one of the books.
Which one?
To Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street.
Oh.
Because there's a racist Asian caricature in it, and so...
To think that I saw that on
To think that I saw that on it. I think we own, like, an old... Like, it was like my great-grandmother worked in a school in, like, the 20s or the 30s or I don't remember when the book came out, but I think it's like a first or second edition. It's like an old copy that he would read to us. We still have it. I've looked into it. I don't remember if it's super expensive or not. Oh.
Whoa.
Oh shit. Dang.
Oh no.
And that's going to take us to the first break. All right. So, that is the first 2 acts of Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. So, first impressions so far, Evan.
Well, visually, it's incredible. I thought that I might really dig this movie because I thought it was going to be a visual treat, and it definitely has delivered.
Hell yeah.
I gotta be honest, I'm maybe not following the plot completely.
And I can give you guys a rundown real quick of the plot because I know that it's a little confusing. So you saw like the 2 guys who were watching the show and the some night Cesar. I don't know how you guys want me to say it. I feel like I'm going to get criticized if I say Caesar, Cesar, whatever the fuck. I'm going to say it differently every time. Anyway, when they're watching Lil Caesar, so the main guy, I don't know if you've realized do you know who the main guy is? He was the guy who was talking in the very beginning to that old dude in the garden.
Is he the somnambulist?
He's the main character. Okay. The guy from the beginning. He's the main character. He was the one who was with his friend at the show. They were watching the show. Okay. The friend is the one who just got killed. Okay. When they were at the show, when Dr. Caligari got the somnambulist out, he asked, Dr. Caligari says the somnambulist can tell your future. So who wants to know their future? So the friend is like, ooh, me. And Caligari's like, okay. And Caesar says, you're going to die. And the dude's like freaking out and they leave. And they're like, oh, whatever. They met with that girl in the middle of the center, the city center. Or that like street. Remember that street set? Yeah. I don't know if you saw the 3 of them. She's the love interest of the main character, right? But then we just saw the friend get killed. So now the main character is going to try to look into his friend's death, and also the girl is going to also end up going to the circus and find out some bad stuff. I know it's hard when all you have is subtitles to read, and that's how you're following a story. It's hard to keep track of. I know that I certainly it was not easy for me to figure out what was going on. Had to read it, summaries and stuff. So, Little Caesar, Young C's, whatever you want to call him.
Little Caesar.
Little Caesar, to be formal. And yeah, like I said, that's Conrad Veidt. And I don't know, again, to go on a little about Conrad Veidt, because I think you guys will be interested in this. So, like I said, he came to America in the late 20s to do some movies. He did some other films. So, even before I go there, after this, he did some more films in Germany, some other German expressionist films. And then he moved to America in the 20s. He acted in a movie for Universal called The Man Who Laughs. And in that movie, he plays a disfigured guy who's got like this permanent grin. And that is the inspiration for the Joker in the Batman comics and then in the movies. And so Conrad Veidt is like, if you go and look up Conrad Veidt, you'll get that picture of him as this character. The character's name is Gwynplaine. And he's got this wild smile that was designed by the guy who would go on. The makeup was designed by the guy who would do the makeup for Frankenstein and the Wolfman and all the monsters. So it was one of those things.
Who knew the Joker has been part of the Gothic horror
right
pantheon.
Again, that is the cool thing, is the way that you see the connections and how things that are just really popular in pop culture even nowadays are kind of born out of horror history in particular. So again, go look up The Man Who Laughs. That may be like something we show later on the program when it falls into the public domain. I think it's got another year.
So We got to keep this show going for a little while.
Got to keep this show. This show's got at least 2 good years on it, so I think we'll be able to show The Man Who Laughs. It's more melodrama. Yes, horror lives forever. Horror will never die. You can't escape it. It will always get you.
We'll always be scared.
Always be there.
Always find something to be afraid
But no,
of.
that's why I love horror history trivia, because it always ends up connecting. There's always those seminal horror movies. Everybody's seen them, and it's inspired so many people. So again, like the Joker, which is now a character that literally inspires so many things, good and bad. It's just funny to see how even what inspired the artist who came up with the Joker came out of this old silent movie. And
what
again,
inspired that? What inspired The Man Who Laughs?
And you know what inspired The Man Who Laughs? Caligari.
Oh,
So it all connects. It all
back.
comes back around because again, Conrad Veidt was in both movies, and the director for The Man Who Laughs was a German immigrant who was in the same circle as these guys, very influenced by these guys. And German Expressionism, like I said, was kind of a mini film genre. There are other German Expressionist movies. The most famous one, arguably, Nosferatu, right? There are other ones. There's a movie called Metropolis. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. No, I haven't seen that one. But
Which Metropolis is more science fiction,
Mhm.
but Metropolis is a really cool movie. A lot of innovations for the time. That was a late 20s movie. And again, a very exaggerated style. Not, again, both Nosferatu and Metropolis are not as stylized as Caligari. It's more natural. It's more real shadows and real sets. It's not purposefully fake, but it's still very effective. It's still all about that whole psychological idea of evoking a mood through light and shadows and angles and just trying to unsettle you just visually. So on that note, the trailers that are coming up next are for Nosferatu and Metropolis. And there's a couple other. There's a movie called The Hands of Orlac, which also has Conrad Veidt, which is about a piano player who gets disfigured in a train accident, and he gets the hands of a murderer. And so that's like a fun
hijinks ensue.
Hijinks ensue, of course, and it's a lot of fun. My hands. That's a German Expressionist film as well, and actually, that's a remake of. There was an earlier version of that movie that came out before Caligari, and that was a feature. So when we were talking earlier about what were the other feature horror movies that came out before Caligari, one of them was a version of The Hands of Orlac. And that was like 1915, 1916, something like that. But
Orlac. Isn't Nosferatu's character Count Orlok?
Count Orlok, right. And again, that's a whole thing because they couldn't get the rights to Dracula, so they couldn't call the character Dracula. It's pretty much just the storyline of Dracula, just none of the same names. It's just a German ripoff of Dracula. And the trailer that you'll see for it is not really a trailer so much as it is a clip show that I compiled myself and put some music under.
Oh.
And
Great fan trailer.
It's fan trailer, and then the Metropolis trailer is actually reconstruction of an old trailer. The quality was just terrible, so I was like, I'll just
do it myself.
I'll
just
get some good quality versions of the clips and just redo it. So, because it would be good to see some other examples of German Expressionism. So if you guys want to see them on your own, you can. They'll be on the show eventually, so we'll watch them here. And it's a great crotula. Crotula. That's great. Count Crotula. Metropolis is like 3 hours long. Metropolis is fucking wild. And this trailer doesn't even show.
This trailer is 30 minutes
It doesn't
long.
even show the near to the best clips. Like they're cool, but I would have picked some different ones. But I wanted to just give you guys
the authentic experience.
So, well, I think we'll go ahead and go to break and see these trailers. And then when we get back, the exciting middle of the cabinet of Dr. Caligari. And we are back. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed those trailers. Yeah, Metropolis is a fucking crazy movie. Certainly steampunk is, I think, applicable word. That movie is just, I'm glad that I actually did sit down and see all of that movie. Evan and I were talking at the break. Nosferatu, it's hard for me to sit through. Metropolis came like 5-6 years later. So it's certainly like cinema improved vastly in 5 or 6 years to be able to make a movie like Metropolis, which again is 3 hours long. And so if you do seek it out, just know going in,
you got to make a day of it.
You're going to have to set some time aside to watch the whole thing. And yeah, I mean, Metropolis has influenced so many movies and television shows and video games. And I mean, if I had actually compiled a list of all the inspirations, I mean, again, it'd be pretty wild. Because,
hang on, let me look it up real quick.
I mean, really, these movies, these early movies are movies that people saw in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. You know, it's just that the influences go on. There's no limit as far as, like, if you release something in the 20s, that it's not going to influence people 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years.
It kind of makes you wonder what are going to be the kind of landmark films of our age that are going to go on.
Man, I don't even know. There's so much
things.
Shit, and if anything is really
there were just fewer movies back then. It's a lot easier to pick
well,
out the ones.
and just to actually do something artistic in the things that it's like nobody's done it this way, nobody's doing it this way now.
What's the most unique modern movie?
Yeah, oh my god. I mean, and it's not to say that people don't try. Some people try too hard. That's the beauty of these movies, is that, you know, there wasn't a lot. They could get really inventive, and they certainly got inventive. Morbius, yeah, just keep dragging Morbius all that you can. Now, I will tell you, on the vampire subject, the follow-up to the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, that has the same director and the same art design people, is a movie called Genuine, that is about a vampire. That came out in like just a year or two or three after Caligari. I haven't seen it. I don't think all of it survives. We may try to show it on the show since it's a vampire movie, and apparently I saw some pictures and it certainly evokes Caligari. So, yeah, Genuwine. Genuine. Right? Like, I wouldn't know how else to say it. Thank you, Sierra, for that check, because I wouldn't. That's, I think it's genuine. Genuine. I don't know. Anyway, vampire movie by the same people who did this.
Speaking of vampire movies, I was saying during the break for everyone at home just how much I appreciate the design of Nosferatu. That's a movie out of this whole realm that I've seen, actually.
Yes, and Evan, and I also told Evan during the break, I haven't been able to sit through the whole thing, because to me, it gets pretty fucking boring at certain points.
Yeah, I remember it being not a very exciting
but
movie,
Evan, but you sat through it.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, you know, you just look back, and that kind of really brutal looking vampire, that guy looks crazy. He looks like a monster. And you don't really see that as much anymore.
That look is absolutely terrifying, which is so funny to think that it was appropriated for SpongeBob. You know, and that was, again, I told Evan, I had nightmares. Yeah, Morbius. Yeah, I had nightmares about Nosferatu. I told Evan that when I was a kid, about that look from that Willem Dafoe movie I talked about earlier, and even when Nosferatu popped up on SpongeBob, it freaked me out a little bit. It's like, that look is legitimately terrifying, with the teeth and no hair. It's very exactly
animalistic.
Complete opposite of the Bela Lugosi suave Dracula with the cape and the black hair, and the completely different, right? And I think that decrepit look was a little more true to Bram Stoker's vision of the character.
Haven't read.
But again,
Dracula.
That was not an authorized adaptation, so yeah. So Nosferatu is probably arguably the more famous German expressionism film, just because more people know about the character and that look, and because of things like SpongeBob. But
mostly just because of SpongeBob.
But Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is arguably the better example of the genre because of how all out artistic it is with everything.
Which work do you think is more influential?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. Because Nosferatu, the director of that would go on to do... He did a film that won, like, the first or second or third Academy Award for Best Picture.
Wow.
Like, he's a very acclaimed director, and so, like, because Nosferatu is part of his pantheon of films, it's kind of... I think it well, and we'll go into it when we show Nosferatu. But there was a whole legal situation where it didn't get shown for years, and it was considered a lost film because Bram Stoker's widow got mad because they made an unauthorized adaptation of Dracula without her consent. They tried to get her consent. She said no. They did it anyway, and then she sued them, and the film was supposed to be destroyed. Luckily, it's not. And we'll watch it one day. We'll appreciate it. We'll get through the boring stuff together.
We'll talk about something
We'll hold
else,
your hand. We'll make it fun. We'll maybe throw in some sound effects to liven it up. Speaking of, we just need to get right on with it to the exciting middle.
Get on with it.
Yeah, get on with it. We're going to get on to the exciting middle of The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. I've been saving my second hypnotic for the start of the movie.
How hypnotic. I just love a good blue drink, you know?
It's just, I love that blue flavor, you know? Anything that tastes blue.
I mean, really, it makes me feel like I'm on vacation. You get a nice blue drink, you know, it just makes me feel like I'm under a palm tree.
I did see some other, like, similar drinks using hypnotic, and one of them had rum in it, and it was more like a tropical colada.
Yeah.
So, if Caligari ever gets tropical...
Yeah, if we ever get a tropical horror movie.
If we were ever to do a live show in a tropical location, we'll do tropical Caligari.
Yeah. We need to do a rum cocktail. We haven't done a rum cocktail yet.
No, we have not.
I love a good rum cocktail.
Yeah, rum would be great. This is our second time with vodka.
Yeah, it is.
I would love... Because rum... Love rum.
I love rum.
I started with
It's my
vodka.
favorite liquor.
Yeah, but I think I would say same. So...
Is this the friend?
Yes. And I realize... It's probably been a while since the break. I think we talked for a minute. So if you guys don't remember, we just saw a murder.
Yeah.
Yep. Just get that inflatable palm tree out, and then when it's you know, instead of the circle glasses, we photoshopped some sunglasses in on Dr. Caligari, and then it's tropical Caligari. Be a lot of fun. Remix, tropical edition. I love that.
Prophesy hunk.
See, it's all supposed to just be super exaggerated. Like, what the fuck, you know? Woo, Evan! Second drink is stronger than the first. Getting a little more liberal with that vodka.
I thought I put more lemon juice in it, but...
Maybe that's what's burning my, larynx right now. I don't know.
Ooh, makes it really easy to talk here. Not like we're on, on microphone or anything.
Admiral Nelson. Ooh, yeah, no, I couldn't. I can't even. I don't even think I can do Sailor Jerry's. Like, it's, you know, I'm okay with Captain Morgan. That's gonna draw the line. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Even the inner titles, the design in the inner titles is worth. That's why watch a version with American inner titles when you can see these artistic German titles, you know?
Yeah, you lose something.
You do. You absolutely
Lost in
do.
translation.
100%.
Because it looks like the intertitles are painted too.
Yeah, that's what, exactly. It's all in this like particular style.
Nosferatu.
And yeah, like, you know, it's funny you bring up those steps, Sweet Feet, because again, and we'll talk about it more later in the program, but the influences, you know, and I think we mentioned it earlier, but yeah, this movie in particular had a lot of influence on horror movies to come after this. A lot of the Universal stuff, and you can see it in shots like this with this long staircase that's painted shadows, but it's all shadowy and atmospheric. Art.
Yeah, this is...
Too bad we don't have an art button.
This is art.
This is art.
This is the fiance, right?
Right.
Okay. She hasn't shown up in a minute.
Yeah, it has been a while. Damn.
The makeup on her is...
Yeah, man. Wow, smoky eyes, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like every shot there's inspiration. Like every new set, everything that they're, you know. Again, when you break down a movie and all the different elements at work to make you feel a certain way, you realize like how much work went into the making of it.
Is this based on anything, or is this an original work?
Original. The writers, again, very much inspired by post-World War I Germany. And there's a lot of scholarly material out there about the connections between Caligari and the Nazi Germany to come. And that because a lot of this movie is about a very controlling person controlling somebody to do bad things. And they may be a good person, but when it's this evil guy. And again, that's all scholarly readings into it. The writers gave interviews later that maybe kind of lean into, we were trying to reflect the political atmosphere of the time. We were trying to do all this, but I mean, I think, you know, certainly you can say whatever you want in hindsight, but certainly they were very much inspired by the conditions of Germany at the time, having to deal with authority and corrupt authority, and certainly those themes are there. Yeah, it's funny. There was actually, I think it's very loose. And we'll talk about one remake of Caligari later. There's like an late 80s or early 90s movie called Caligari that is really artsy. I haven't seen it, but it looks weird. Very 90s, like artsy, political.
Well, at least they were leaning into the artsy part.
Right. But a modern version of Caligari would be very, I didn't even bring it up. Or I guess I could mention it later. But in like the 2010s or something like that, these guys did a shot-for-shot remake of Caligari on green screen. But it was still pretty cool. I watched it. I liked it. It wasn't bad. It wasn't
Did
great.
They use the same backgrounds?
I mean, it was like newer renderings, paintings, but it was all made to look the same. But again, like a modern adaptation that is taking the material and trying to do something new has been done a couple times with Caligari, but hadn't seen anything recently. It's ripe for the picking. Pretty straightforward, yeah. I mean, again, like, I guess there's been 3 remakes of Caligari. talk about it at more at the break, but I think that's it.
This man lives in a cartoon house.
Yeah, be careful, it's gonna blow away. When you live in a fair, man, and you know, anything can happen. See, these gloves make me seem not so sinister. They're disarming. People think that I'm not threatening when they see that I'm wearing Mickey Mouse gloves.
Maybe that's a lesson we can take from this. You can get away with so much if you just wear something that makes you look really disarming.
Yeah, I mean, it is very much, you could call the art style chaotic. Which certainly children's art.
Yeah,
you could apply
I was
the word.
thinking, yeah, it looks like a kid's drawing.
Yeah, that's exactly what Fresh just said. And Sierra would love to live in a cartoon house. So Evan, if you could get to work on that,
Great.
that'd be great. Can you make your house?
Just draw us one.
Yeah, just draw you guys a house. That is an Ed Sheeran song. You're right. You're right, Sweet Pea. I want to live in a cartoon house.
So did you just get to keep the murder weapon back then if you caught the guy?
Yep, it's yours,
Cool.
finders keepers.
Here's your trophy, citizen. You did such a good job.
Chalk zone a house for your wife, Evan. She would really appreciate it. Extra, read all about it. All small mystery solved. 2-time murder caught third attempt. Got him. Harold in the purple crayon. Yep. Evan can easily Harold in the purple crayon you guys a house. He just let him pull out his purple crayon. Although on the screen right now it may look whatever the opposite of purple is.
I was thinking kind of like Chalk Zone. If you're old Nickelodeon
Yeah, that's what Sweet Feet said.
person. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Evan doesn't have the chat in front of him
Sorry,
because
I'm blind tonight.
we were like dropping frames for some reason. I don't know if that was the reason, but I haven't dared try it.
We're not going to argue
again.
with
We're not going to argue
results.
with because we haven't. I'm not even going to say anything because the Caligari curse is alive and well.
This lady looks cursed.
Yeah, that is how you solve the housing crisis. Evan just draws houses for everybody.
Yeah.
Dumb. Oh, God, idiots.
Why doesn't the president just draw some more houses?
Come on, guy.
How can you be homeless when you can just draw a house?
German is such a brusque language. paragraph's so long, we gotta scroll down.
Yeah, I thought in silent movies you had to keep these lines kind of quick. The makeup on this guy's face.
Yeah, the lines and
yeah,
yeah, no, it's definitely
so dramatic.
It's wild makeup. I mean, yeah, they're definitely like for everybody like accentuating the lines on around their face. Right, yeah. Sierra noticed that at the same time. You going to the fair?
The fair.
The fair. It's still
it's
in
only
town.
a model.
Shh. Yeah, I'd be scared too.
He looks so sinister.
He gave it a side eye. That's when you know. It's 100% when you know.
Did she pay the troll toll?
You gotta pay the true toll. Hey, check your phone. We're getting Evan. We're trying to get Evan a chat here. Fresh was using his noggin.
Oh, very smart.
Using his old noggin to help us out over here.
Using the brain.
Because I am incompetent. I'm getting there, but
Well, sometimes I forget that we all just carry tiny computers in our
these
pockets.
tiny computers in our pockets. I didn't know how to appreciate it until I was in the woods for 2 days. And
You don't notice it until you lose it.
Until you lose it, and you're like, fuck. Evil. This pipe music, man. It does sound like Incompetech. No, I didn't know. This is the music that was composed for the movie. A lot of people compose like their own scores for like a lot of musicians and composers and stuff use this as like a project because the picture's free, so they'll compose music for it. If I was more enterprising, I would have reached out to somebody and said, hey, I love your score of Caligari. I'd love to show Caligari with your score. But, figure that out for the next silent movie. So do you have the chat now?
Yeah, I gotta pull it now.
Is it, you have it like...
I can't go back, but any new messages...
Can you prop it up, like your phone up against your TV screen? So you have it in like your visual window?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
Yeah, no, seriously, you could have a whole demo reel full of silent film scores. I mean, that's what the public domain is all about, which that's what we're here for.
You're an enterprising composer.
Right. I mean, all of these images are free to use in the United States. Again, this is still copyrighted in Germany for the next 2 to 5 years. Sources vary. So, but for now, United States, you can do whatever you want with it. Put trap beats, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, even this, you could, yeah. Now, see, this imagery here is like, you can look to Universal horror movies and find similar imagery. Yeah, Fresh, get to work. Get to work.
Was he looking at the camera?
Wow. Very creepy.
Yeah. Jeez.
Get the fuck up! Look at that. That was a wild set, by the way the lines are going out and
Yeah.
stuff. Fucking head-to-head beds. See, yeah, that's a pretty cool set. You guys are right there. Come on, go.
Where could she be?
Love that. I'll say, like, in a lot of my high school art drawings, like, when I just had free shit to do, I would, like, certainly want to try to mimic, like, German Express. I love the angles. I love the lines. And a lot of my drawings, I find myself influenced by this shit because of the shot before this, shots like this. I mean... Right. Yeah, they're very deliberate when they like make things more realistic or more soft or more like that whole garden. Yeah, that whole garden scene like certainly was supposed to, or like garden area was certainly supposed to be more of like a pleasing thing. Yeah, I
Jeez.
mean, awful fast, and also with the speed on these silent films.
You think they cranked the speed up?
Well, all of them were being filmed at 15 frames a second because it wasn't until sound that we got the standard 24 frames a second because that was better for the movement of lips. But back in the day, it was 15, so that's why a lot of silent films look like they're moving faster. Of course, these days, a lot of restorations are moving them up to like 50 frames a second. Like, it's crazy, man.
It gets a little uncanny in movies when you start boosting the frames up too much.
Right. And it's weird to see. Like, I didn't choose a restored or colored version this week. I just found kind of the most true to the release version that I could find. Movies at
120 frames per second.
And that is going to take us to our second break.
Yeah, already
All right.
through Act 2.
Yeah, already through Act 2.
Act 4.
Act 4. Yeah, 2 acts. We went through 2 acts. So that was the exciting middle of the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. And we got... we didn't get a murder, but we got some very...
Something was happening.
Horrific images.
Yeah.
Horrific imagery.
So... Caesar was gonna kill the fiance?
Right. And to kind of, again, because I know the story's a little difficult to follow, so Caesar is under the spell of Caligari, right? Like, he is killing these people under Caligari's spell. Like, Caligari is the one telling him, go kill these people.
Okay.
Right? So, when he went to go kill the woman... he was kind of jostled out of his hypnotic state, and he's in an act of lust, I guess, because it seemed gentle at first, and then he picks her up and, you know, moves her around and then carries her out and carries her all around the forest, and Evan, something was happening. Yeah, I mean, again, these silent movies are difficult.
It warrants a second watch.
They warrant a
Stay
couple
tuned
watches.
for the epic encore.
You know, when you're in a theater and it's a classroom setting and you can go to the bathroom, but you're not going to leave. You know, you may fall asleep for a little bit, but, you know, you catch things, you're like, oh, okay. Like, I appreciate it more than I did the last time I saw it. So it certainly deserves repeat viewings. I can tell you personally that it deserves repeat viewings. But the first time watching it, it can be a little, oh, that's cool, but I don't know what's happening right now, you know? Maybe one of these days... we'll vote on it. If you guys really want us to do it, we'll dub a whole silent movie, and we'll just do that. And I can't imagine that would certainly be pretty wild. And yeah, I mean, to make heads or tails of this, you've got to read plot synopses, and you've got to try to understand it. And it's still, you know, again, just watching it over and over again is what it takes. But like I said, this movie was very influential, and the whole German Expressionism movement was very influential for horror films in particular. All the 30s horror films from Universal and a lot of the studios were influenced by these movies. It's all about light and shadow and what's lurking in the shadows, and the, you know, just kind of the psychological effects that you can create. That's what, you know, you can take a lot of images from Frankenstein from 1931 and from this movie and compare them side by side. Scenes of Frankenstein's monster stalking around can be compared with scenes of Caesar stalking around. And so, again, when you really start to go and look, you can find a lot of connections between these German Expressionist films and even just the films that came out of Hollywood 10 years later. And then those films that came out of Hollywood in that time influenced what came after that. You know, it all keeps feeding itself. So you trace these influences back, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's only only movies I like deserve repeat viewings, and that's the way it is, and it's not going to change. And like I said, that's the way it is. So.
To quote a certain famous American, it's a pretty big deal.
It's a pretty big deal. So, no, I mean, you know, there are so many movies that I'm not even mentioning that, again, take influence from this, and that please go and seek them out, go and watch them, because I don't have everything, unfortunately. If I had the whole list here, I'd give it to you. You guys know I would, but that's the beauty of the program. You guys go and look, and you seek these things out. So we're going to go to the break. We have got, again, like I said, with Caligari, there were 3 remakes. The first one came in 1960. We're going to see a trailer for that. We're going to see a trailer for another 60s remake of that movie I talked about, Hands of Orlac, which was, again, German Expressionist movie, remade in the 60s. And like I said, Caligari was remade again in the 80s. I don't know a lot about that. I saw the other one. I'll talk more about that at the break. Meanwhile, enjoy these trailers. And when we come back, the exciting conclusion of The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Stop! Stop! You can't escape this shattering emotional experience that takes its place with the screen's most distinguished classics, that dares explore uncharted realms of exciting wizardry, that will ignite a storm of controversy with its strength and candor.
How old were you when you first let a man make love to you? Next, who was he? Next, how did you feel at the time? Next, how did you feel afterward? What did you feel? What did you think? Were you pleased, frightened, ecstatic, disgusted? What did he say? What words did you speak? That's what I want to know. Now, tell me. Now, all of it.
Robert Bloch, author of Psycho, creates a new masterpiece of suspense, The Cabinet of Caligari. Starring Glynis Johns, a girl alone in a house of terror. And Dan O'Hurley is Caligari.
Spying, peeping, it's cowardly, vicious. I was completely vulnerable in my bath.
My bath, my house, my sphere. You are my guest.
Yes! We both know I'm a prisoner. Behind locked gates.
Psycho had it. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde had it. Rebecca had it. Now the Cabinet of Caligari brings a new, shocking impact to the screen.
What are you thinking now? Tell me now. What are you feeling? Tell me now. Look at me. What does it feel like not to have any feeling? Go ahead. Look at me. I wish the whole house were here, all of them, not to see me, to see you.
You may loathe him, acclaim him, accept him, reject him. But you'll talk about Caligari for months to come.
The hands whose music thrilled the world. Are they now the hands that love to kill? Are they hands that control the man who owns them? Are they Orlac's hands? Or are they those of another human being grafted on? The hands of a killer.
Look at these hands. They're not mine. They belong to someone else. They have their own thoughts, their own will. I can't control them.
for such things to happen? We can only answer, fact is stranger than fiction. Here is a motion picture filled with startling mystery. The story of a haunting question that drives a man to the brink of insanity. Starring Mel Ferrer as Olak, victim of a terrible accident.
You think I killed that cat, don't you?
Say it! Please! What are you afraid of? You think I'm gonna kill you?
Co-starring Christopher Lee as Nero the Magician, who discovers the secrets of Olak's hands and hounds him to the edge of madness.
Did you know that your charming little wife, her wise old guardian, were planning to have you set her up? They want to put you away.
Danny Carell as Lai Lang, who uses her charms to trap Olak and her beauty to betray him.
Tell me something.
Yes.
What is it you're afraid of?
Lucio Saint-Simon as the wife of Olak, who loves the man, but fears the hands that would embrace her.
Forgive me, Louise. You're not safe with me.
Uncle Francis, I've been trying to get you. Uncle Francis, he must be stopped. He's out of his mind.
And we are back. All right. So, as you guys can see, that trailer for the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari has very little to do with the original
Had nothing
version
to do with it.
of
It's completely different.
Right, exactly. It's a very 60s movie, very 1962 movie.
It felt a little psycho there.
That's what. Well, it's from Robert Bloch, the writer of Psycho, who
He wrote the same scene.
Well, he wrote the book, and he didn't write
Okay.
the movie.
Fair.
And the movie's very Hitchcock, and so. But afterwards, anytime that he was on a project, people exploited the name, and especially the movie Psycho, to say this is gonna be just as exciting as Psycho. And
This guy wrote Psycho.
you guys have never seen or heard of that version, and I've actually, it's been on TV on Fox Movie Channel a couple times, so I've seen bits and pieces. It's not as exciting as that trailer, I can tell you that. I didn't see any of that in the parts that I watched. That's
Great.
to tell you how slow it is, and so don't seek that version out.
Yeah, if
Imagine
if
having
your local
cable,
cinema is
idiot.
playing it, don't go see it.
Don't go see it. Yeah, if you have cable, which you're
See
a
something
loser,
else.
which
Go
is
see-
only
Go
me.
see Morbius.
Go see Morbius, please. We're here to support Jared Leto, and we're here to support Morbius. From the bashing from our audience, we're here to. No, I'm just kidding. We're not gonna bash him either. But anyway, yes, Caligari again. Like I said, the other time was in the '80s. I don't know a lot about that version except it's very sexualized, like more erotic version. Is very artsy for the 80s, so it's probably very dated. I have not seen it. Other version was like maybe it was the early, like 2005 or something like that. Like I said, shot for shot remake, sound, dialogue, black and white still, but green screen. And it takes, and the 80s Caligari takes place in Pound Town. No, I mean, feel free to go check it out and figure out what it's all about. I may after this, because I'm curious. Now I've talked myself into it. Now I realize I should have just for the sake of to tell you guys more about it.
Yeah.
But we can find out, we can learn about it together, so that you guys
Yes.
maybe are one step ahead of me.
It's the adult film parody.
Adult film parody of Caligari. So yeah, like I said, that other version remake, but pretty good. And so it's up to us to do a remake. We'll get there. Somebody will.
Yeah.
If it's not us, somebody will. So we have been going on long enough. We're going to get to the exciting conclusion of The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
This is just how you used to work.
Yep, you
Oh,
gotta.
their
So,
back's
could
supposed
you
to be
imagine
killing
your
them.
your posture?
Oh man,
and
dude,
your...
I had a professor in college who he was this old, very, very old gentleman, and he would walk in hunched over at like almost a 90, like maybe at like 100-degree angle, like at his waist, because because I don't know.
Because there's
The
no
dude-
logical reason for it.
The
at
man
all.
either had something very wrong with him, where he had like just very, very bad posture, but it looked so uncomfortable for him to be walking around like that.
I am afraid that is going to happen to me. I hope to God, because I sit in front of this computer all day and I get like
Hunched
this,
up.
and I'm going to, if I don't straighten up, it's gonna happen. But I do the show long enough, and it forces me to sit up straight. And
sit up nice and pretty for the camera.
nice
so
and pretty for
everybody
the
can see you.
camera.
See a big 5.
I was just about to say, what the fuck? 5 Club.
A very dramatic cell.
55th Street. 55 Street.
Street.
I don't know if you guys can tell that that's a... Well, I won't say anything.
What is up with that guy's hat?
Job and I were talking about old hats earlier because I asked him if he knew what a pork pie hat was. And
I've heard of that, but I'm not sure.
It's
Doesn't it look kind of like a bowler hat?
kind of like a bowler, but not a bowler. We were watching King of the Hill, and Bill was wearing a pork pie hat. Job was like, "What is that look?"
I just remember that from Hey Arnold. There was a guy with a pork pie hat in Hey Arnold.
Right. Maybe, I don't know. I could be wrong on that type of hat, but I just know that's a crazy kind of hat, pork pie hat.
Crazy name.
Crazy.
This guy in the group on the left here almost looks like Turd Ferguson with his weird kind of flat but kind of like top hat.
Turd Ferguson.
It's a funny hat.
Funny hat, funny name. Funny.
Whoa. Is he a mannequin?
Looks like it. Damn, he's moving.
I'm out of here.
You moved too fast for me, dude.
I've seen this movie before. I'm out of here.
Yeah, Hey Arnold, it's kind of a brutal show. Yeah, he's bullying for years.
Quick, let's hide.
They won't find me here. I closed the gate.
I'm not going in there.
Pretty spot on. Damn, it's an ornate asylum.
Yeah, this is a nice asylum. Looks like Germany actually put some money towards
Germany has a really good mental health care system, I've heard. I hope that's true.
I hope it's true.
I hope
At
it's
least
better
from
than
the
ours. It's got to be
architecture.
better than
Yeah,
ours.
I mean,
We have nothing.
this guy looks like a psychologist.
Right, white hair, thick glasses. Those Coke bottle glasses. Director?
This music sounds like it's from Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
It does, doesn't it? That trumpet, yeah. A lone trumpet.
Come with me, Ed boy.
Yep, this is Rolf's homeland.
Got him.
So if anybody ever plays the drinking game, there was a skull on screen.
Oh,
So.
I always forget about the drinking game. Let's drink.
Yeah, I know. Well, cheers. Now that was a pretty cool set, honestly.
Yeah.
In the insane asylum.
The angles are so crazy because, you know, here the doorways are, you know, very natural, but just down the hall it was like a, I don't even know, not a trapezoid, but
Right. That's the thing. I mean, fucking shapes. The shapes. The shapes.
you gotta be real careful. You're gonna get yourself committed.
Yeah. No, the kind of stuff you can do with perspective when you're just manipulating the set and the painting of the set, because you see the way that walls are layered and then shadows are kind of ending. Like, I'm pointing and you guys can't see what I'm pointing at. I need like a John Madden thing here. I need to be able to like circle and draw on the screen, show you guys stuff.
I mean, it's creative use of the space. And,
Exactly.
You know what's interesting, and I feel like I'm maybe stealing a bit from Job, but there's an interesting thing they did with camouflage in World War I, where they would paint these crazy shapes onto the ships to make it look really difficult
To identify.
tell what direction the ship was pointed.
Ooh, that's
if
cool.
you get a chance, look up. It's called Dazzle Camouflage. It's really wild looking.
Okay, that's cool. Wow. I'm sure thank you for keeping that succinct, Evan, because Job would clearly have that and more to let us know about, but we you know, gotta get the movie moving along.
I think it is that lemon juice. I think I put too much lemon juice in the.
It's got
It
that
tastes.
bite.
It's got a bite.
Shapes are loud.
Just a bunch of loud shapes. 5 stars.
And the answer was in a book all along.
Take a look.
In a book. It's reading rain. Okay. Thought you were gonna harmonize with me, Evan.
Oh, sorry.
No. It's alright. The moment has passed. It's okay. You know next time now.
Yeah, I'll know next time.
Anytime one of us sings, it's gotta be a harmony. We've gotta harmonize.
Dun dun dun.
See, that's a cool fucking set.
Yeah, it's a cool desk.
Yep, that's how my office space looks too.
Yeah.
Just books piled around.
There's a skeleton. It looks
Skeleton.
like a whirlwind of
Yep.
shadow.
Exactly. It's the way I like it. Actually, honestly, guys, if I ever have my own home built,
You're gonna build it like this.
I'm gonna have at least one Caligari room. If not,
It honestly would.
it's a Caligari house.
It would be doable.
If it can't
you
be a
just paint it.
Caligari house, it'll be a Caligari room. Caligari, I think, is how it's supposed to be pronounced. Caligari.
Caligari, okay.
Caligari. But I say
Cabinet
Caligari.
of Harry Gary.
Right. Just, and especially when you have like a focal point, like just by the set design, like I think that makes it easier with blocking, you know, in the camera.
Yeah, you line it up with
You
the.
just line it up with all the lines. Like, I mean, with him, like, look at him. He's just got lines all around him. It looks wild. Like, Mhm.
Do you think this is real? Do you think you can like manipulate a sleepwalker into murdering somebody?
It depends on what your stance is on hypnotism.
Oh.
And my stance on hypnotism is that I don't have a firm stance on hypnotism. Because again,
Yeah, I
much
don't.
like mediums or anything else, for me to tell you whether I think it's real or not is not to be fair to the situation, which is that I can't give you a real answer.
I think that's fair.
There's
I
no,
guess.
there doesn't, like, you can show me evidence, and, like, it can be very compelling. But at the end of the day, unless I really experience it myself.
Okay, so you were like all.
I
complete what I see
love
at
all this shit, and I'm totally down for all of it. But I need more evidence
Right.
to buy it,
I think that's kind of my stance. I think like
hypnotism, like I see videos of like, oh, person was hypnotized. Bullshit or not, I don't know. It's
I
not,
think
not for
my
me.
default mode is skeptic.
Exactly, same. I mean, you have to. You have to approach everything with skepticism. You have to do, legitimate research, not research what I saw on Google that confirmed what I already. It has to be objective.
I found a guy on YouTube who explained that the Earth is flat.
And pretty convincing. So
Pretty convincing stuff.
Team
I mean, it was
Team
science,
Flat Earth
so-
now. Could you imagine? Ugh. No offense if any future viewer of the show is a flat earther.
If there is
but
evidence brought to
you're
light
probably
that
not going to be a
proves the
viewer of
Earth
this
is
show.
flat.
And if you are, then do a little more research. Be a little more objective. Don't just confirm your biases. Please. I beg of you.
This is very wild.
Right? Using text like this? Diegetic text?
Yeah. Oh.
See, Caligari has a 6-act structure.
Which is very weird. I mean,
Which is weird, but
It's
it
like-
is.
it's like a reducible fraction. Like I keep wanting to say Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3.
But quite honestly, there's a billion ways to break up structure, and some people favor more than 3 acts, and so it is cool to see an early movie from this time like be able to kind of expand the story like that.
They look so sad. So sad. So sad.
Gefunden.
Have you ever sleepwalked or known anyone who's sleepwalked?
Job?
Really?
Yeah, Job's
a sleepwalker?
Yeah. Job kicked a hole in the wall sleepwalking once.
Holy shit.
My sister, maybe. I don't know if Gavin ever sleepwalked. Gavin sleep-talked. We've all sleep-talked. Yeah, no. Job definitely, I think, is the only one I can think of. I never, not to my knowledge. The only crazy thing I ever did in my sleep was have a seizure, but that's a story for another day.
Yikes.
Let's just say I was 9 and I don't really remember much of it. No, man, I was 8.
I don't really remember much of being 9. It was just such a crazy
This
whirlwind
is a crazy
year.
3rd grade. Just so much going on. 3rd grade year. So much to keep track of.
Just a blur.
Yes, I have seen Sleepwalk with Me. That is a great. Mike Birbiglia is hilarious. If you like NPR and you like This American Life, Mike Birbiglia did stories on that, and then he did this movie that is a very funny movie about somebody who has to deal with sleepwalking. So check it out. We're gonna plug anything on the show that we want. We're pluggers here. That's all we do. On top of plugging horror movies, we plug anything that relates to the subject matter. So throw it at us. We got you.
And if you're a business and you want us to plug your business,
reach out. screamstreamshow@gmail.com, screamstreamshow, Insta, I could go on.
if you're on Patreon, that's too bad because we're not on that.
We'll get there.
but-
We're building up content for that. Just wait. I am the plug. Get him, straight jack. Get the net.
Oh!
It's one of my favorite things on last podcast now. Get the net. Get the net. Got him. Oh yeah, straight jacket. See, like, even this set looks fucking wild. Jeez. Literally insane.
That is a huge door.
Yeah, that is a massive door. I will tell you, if you want to see like German expressionism in action, Universal, go check out Son of Frankenstein, 1939. That's the like huge doors and shit like that. That's the most.
I like a good big door.
That's the most influence from movies like this that you'll find.
Good big door movie.
And the Universal stuff is Son of Frankenstein. We got him. Mission accomplished.
He didn't get out.
He didn't get away. And we got the doctor. right? Everybody loves a big door. Great big door.
I think I missed. So wait, what was the twist?
It's coming. It's
Okay.
coming. So, like, you see, we're back in the frame story now, right?
Yeah. We're back at the beginning.
Right. Same glasses. All right. Wow. And so that was the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. So, Evan, unpack that twist for us as you understand it.
Okay, I don't know how accurate this is going to be.
No,
but...
please, no, you're good.
Okay, so it seemed to me that was the entire thing just some kind of delusion? Like, so that guy was just always an insane asylum patient?
Right.
Okay.
Right. It was all
all a dream.
Essentially. That was one of the first cases of one of those. Like, you know, it wasn't, you know, none of it was real. It was all, you know, Shutter Island. None of it was real. It was all delusion. And,
which,
right.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense with all of the...
No, it's 100%. Like, and that's the thing with Caligari is that, you know, let's see, they did. It is right. Blue Ball's ending, and you know, again, this is the days before you could do a big fiery climax, right? And so right, like you know, it is kind of curious. It is kind of curious to think about the twist and what a lot of people may not know, and what I believe I caught from my reading is that the twist was actually filmed. All of the frame story was filmed afterward at the behest of the studio or the financiers.
So they weren't originally going to put it in?
They weren't originally going to put it in.
They thought, yeah, everybody's going to get this.
I believe. Please fact check me on that. But I believe that it was the studio was concerned about a supernatural.
We just don't get this, man.
They were concerned about like a mystic story, so they kind of mandated that, you know, you flip it, you reverse it at the end, and ultimately, again, you come up with an early cinematic twist.
Yeah, it makes it, you know, a little more interesting.
Exactly, it does give it more. You know, again, you cut out all that stuff. The movie is 50 minutes, something like that. Not nearly as long. And it's fun. You know, it makes it fun.
Yeah, and it puts all of the crazy expressionist stuff into context. If it's all just a delusion, then it makes a lot of sense that it's all crazy angles and shadows.
And so that's the thing, when you see it in that normal world and you see...
It almost looks jarring.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point. And especially in the frame sequences, to normalize it, or like to mirror shots where you saw at the end where the protagonist is being carried into the cell in the straitjacket the same way Caligari was earlier. The set and the shot is the same, but the set has been scrubbed. Like, it's some of the paintings are similar, but they've been softened. And so it's interesting. I mean, again, even if it was mandated for them to shoot the frame stuff afterwards, it still makes it, you know, it makes it fun when you put style into it. It's not, you didn't just shoehorn it in. You still use style with storytelling to do something fun, you know.
Which I appreciate. I do love style.
Right. And that's the thing with the style, especially when it's a silent film, and there's so much interpretation. You like I said, with the whole Caligari, the documentary that I had heard about is called Caligari to Hitler, and it's all scholarly readings into the ending of Caligari and how it relates to Nazi Germany.
Yeah, it turns out World War II was just a delusion, and Hitler was in an asylum the whole time. Right, exactly. And yeah, I mean, again, that certainly lends credence to the idea of just insane people can easily get power. And there's nothing you can do, but maybe it's just all a dream. Maybe we're all in the Matrix. Who knows? You know, it could certainly be anything. And yeah, no, I would agree. Definitely,
it's so much to like unpack psychologically that you could interpret it a million different ways. And I think like that does lend itself to like the power of German expressionism, and German expressionism in this form, right? Like the power of just being able to make shadows and angles different in every setting to kind of make you feel, it's subconsciously, it's making you feel something different because it's doing something to you on a subconscious level. That's what makes it so ripe for interpretation. So I think that's the beauty of these silent films for the people who can't stand silent films, who can't stand sitting through some of this silent black and white. The beauty of it is there is so much you can interpret. And so I think that right. Oh, 100%. It definitely stands up. And that's what I hate that's what I love about this program, is that we bring you stuff that it is in the public domain, but that because it's in the public domain doesn't mean it's terrible, right? The whole crux from episode 1, we've been talking about, well, what is good, what is bad? Well, you can't really, you use those terms in concrete ways. Caligari is something you can use the word good with. Even if the story is hard to follow, that's just more a product of it's a silent film. It's, we're not German. It is from another country. So there are certain things that inhibit us to being able to take it in the same way that we can take in, even the terror, like last week, and enjoy and like appreciate the twist at the end of the terror, right? Like you were able to follow the story enough that you could enjoy the twist of that ending, right? Even if some stuff still doesn't make sense, which even with Caligari, you can say some stuff still doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think there is something to be said though. I think there's kind of an idea with works that are very heavily stylized that they do hold up better over time because they're not focusing so hard on trying to gain just that photorealistic representation of reality.
Right. Well, that's what's so interesting about German expressionism as a movement or an artistic thing, is because you can look at something like Nosferatu and see that the realism in it, right? Like they didn't use painting to come up with these crazy shadows and this crazy, it was all done on the set, it was all done in camera, and Nosferatu looks wild, but it's still German expressionism. It's just a different form. It's just being rendered in a different way. And yeah, to be able to do something so artificial and still be effective is something that, you have to have the right balance, the right combination. It's not easy to do. And I think that there's just so much inspiration here, 100%.
Yeah, but this was great. I really appreciated this. I think that this is the kind of movie I think I could watch this again.
Please do, and everybody out there, please watch Caligari again. Curse no curse. Please, please seek it out again, because it is. Again, if nothing else than just to appreciate the beautiful imagery, you will follow more of the story. And again, like Sweet Feet is saying, like you can interpret it in different ways. You can think about it more the more that you understand, but you only get that with rewatching it. And that's certainly for me, even this time, like so much more I can appreciate just by what everybody in the chat is pointing out, what Evan is pointing out. It's new stuff to me most of the time. And so that's the beauty of these films, the beauty of the public domain, the beauty of horror. And it's all this show is a celebration of all of those things. We're happy to be bringing you guys all together for all of that.
What kind of does this show have a rating system, or are we doing a rating? Can
We
do
certainly
thumbs?
can.
Are we allowed to do thumbs?
We can certainly do thumbs.
Okay.
I don't know if I don't know if Ebert and Siskel got a trademark on that, but
on
we
the
can
human thumb.
We can do thumbs, sure. What would you
Okay,
give
well,
it?
just to not step on Mr. Ebert's toes, maybe we'll do one pinky up.
Ooh, I actually love that. I love it so much that I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it 2 pinkies up. And yes, T. Blake, the bags of popcorn, we really, I think we mentioned that in one other show, is like, we wish we could do that. Like, it was so genius. We need to come up with some kind of rating system like that, though. That would be great. It's in the pipeline. Don't worry. But yeah, so that, I mean, we love it. Great movie. Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and again, German Expressionism. It's a whole art movement. Go look up German Expressionist paintings, other German Expressionist movies. There's other non-horror German Expressionist movies. Go check them out. And so it's funny, you know, this week we pretty much saw, would you say, an audience, would you say that you would call tonight's film an art film?
I would say it's the most arty film that we've watched so far.
Right. And so I certainly, where do I get that sick shirt? You can get this sick shirt at futuremonsters.com. They are a great little company, I think pretty regionally close to us. I don't want to disclose their location because I don't know. I just saw it through one of my orders. I don't know. I couldn't find it on the website, so that's why maybe they don't want it public. But
I didn't notice until now. That's a pretty sick shirt.
They're in a state pretty close to us, and they've got, this was a discount. And a lot of the horror shirts that I wear, the monster shirts that I wear, are from them. They're really cool. They do some cool stuff, and they've got other non-horror shirts on there. It's all vintage clothing, like all vintage tees, and so they run a little small. I'm wearing an XL. If it's all right, but it's comfortable. It's not tight, but it's not super loose either. So just a little forward warning. It's vintage clothing. You can't wash it in a washing machine. It's the whole thing. But check them out.
You have to put it on a clothesline.
Yeah, they run small. They're slim fits. Yeah, they're like, it's like hand wash. You gotta dry it. It's a little bit of a thing. But cool stuff. Check out futuremonsters.com. They're not a sponsor.
That's the plug.
No, you can't wash it. Well, they've all.
Don't wear it out because you just can't wash it.
Depending on the material, there's
like
different.
denim.
There's washing instructions on the back. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. You know, at the very least, you're supposed to turn it inside out. Some of these I've just washed, so I could just wash it. I'm not saying that you can't just wash it if you don't want to. I'm just saying that I think that's what the instructions say. So it behooves you to do whatever you would be comfortable doing.
You just buy a fresh shirt.
Buy a fresh shirt, wash it.
That's
Maybe they make an XXL. I don't know. I don't know what they do. Whatever it is, they're not sponsoring the show, but I still love them, and futuremonsters.com, check them out. Yes. And this is fresh in the mail today, so I was very happy because I didn't have any fresh ones that I've not yet worn on the show. I have one other one, and then at that point, I'll be grasping for straws until I have the money to buy more of these shirts. So
we got to get more views. Garrett can't
gotta
afford
get more
any
views
more
so I can buy
clothes.
more monster shirts, guys. It's all about the monster shirts. This show is a Ponzi scheme. It's a multi-level marketing scam to buy me graphic tees. So I really appreciate you guys' help with that. So again, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, art film. Next week's film is also an art film in a way, in that it is parodying art at the time it was made.
Ooh.
It is from the same director as last week's film, Roger Corman. He actually directed all of this one. And next week's film is A Bucket of Blood.
Oh,
And
bucket of blood.
It's a lot of fun. It is actually an early horror comedy in the sense that there weren't a lot of horror comedies up to that point. There were definitely some by then. But Roger Corman kind of put some modern spins on the tropes that we still see today, and is a lot of fun. And again, it's a parody of, I think it came out in 1958, so of like beatnik culture, and you know, like, hey cat, cool man,
Hey.
you know,
Greaser culture.
yeah, actually, surprisingly, there's no greasers in this. There's a lot of like hippies and weird, spaced out people wearing like, you know, like Civil War hats and stuff. It's a fun movie. It's
Can't
a lot
wait.
of fun. Murder, and there is a bucket of blood, so it's not. It delivers. We've always talked about, does the title deliver? In that case, it does once, so you'll get that. It's a lot of fun. I'm very excited to bring you guys that.
If anyone at home wanted to watch an old episode of the stream, or maybe someone from the
Please.
future, where
Yes.
would they go?
Go to YouTube, Scream Stream Show, type that in. Our channel will come up. All of our episodes, and I think maybe for like 6 more days, you can see Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter before it goes into the next stage of the copyright dispute, where
We're going to take this one all the way to the Supreme Court.
we're getting a strike. We'll probably get a strike on the channel, and then I'm going to file a counter notification, because if it's not public domain, it's at the very least fair use. So, and there's a billion other copies of it everywhere on the internet. So it's good in the United States. I talked about it in the last stream. I won't go on. Yes, I need to. Oh, I need to do more of a better YouTube link. I could do it through a panel. I haven't linked it through a panel. I think it's just on the main page. But I'll link the YouTube page. If you haven't followed us on Instagram, Twitter, we're still blocked on Facebook because of copyright stuff. So
We're just too cool for
we're
Facebook.
just too, public domain is a very delicate issue that very few platforms accounted for when they came up with algorithms to handle content identification. So we are at the mercy of algorithms, and sometimes these things expire. Sometimes it gets to the point where it's legal shit. And we are venturing into that, but it'll be fun. We'll keep you guys posted. Right. Well, I think,
It's
well,
the
look,
man.
guys, I mean, so I haven't gone, and I won't go into it in too much depth because we got to wrap it up, but Golden Age Classics has been suspended from YouTube. Their channel's been suspended because they've been dealing with copyright stuff, so they can't get looked at by, like, I guess a real human. I don't know.
YouTube, hire some more humans.
So I hope I can bring. They've done a restoration of A Bucket of Blood. I don't know if I'll be able to show you their restoration next week because I can't. They can't get me their YouTube stuff. I'll see if we can find another way. I hope that we can, because again, their stuff is beautiful. It's incredible. If we can, we'll find the best quality copy. But again, just know that we're pretty much every episode now, we're going to be bringing up the YouTube copyright thing until something is done. No, I won't bore you guys with that, but every once in a while when it's a problem, I'll discuss it. So, yeah, I think that's all from me. Evan, anything about Caligari or next week's episode or anything before we close up shop?
I think we've said what can be said. Great movie tonight.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for participating in the chat. That always makes it so much more fun when we get your guys' observations. That's the interactive shit we want. Keep it coming. You guys, that's really what it's about. So we really appreciate you guys tuning in the whole time and making it just as fun for us as I hope we're making it for you. And please join us next week. We'll be back with the mini-sodes. We didn't have one this past week. We'll have one next week. And then on Friday, a bucket of blood. So without further ado, we'll see you guys next week. So ciao.
Carpe Scream, Carpe Stream.
I love it. I still got to come up with a better outro. Later, y'all.
Good night.